Welcome back to Block TV, where we're talking with one of the leading voices in the sphere, as we do every week, a man who gives us his sage wisdom on all the hottest topics in the sphere, Kerner of CryptoOracle, and of course the man behind Crypto Mondays, joining us from New York. Lou, great to have you with us. And you know, as I do with everybody today, you're in the States, you're in New York, the coronavirus mania, be it, well, let's start with this. The coronavirus mania on every front has reached the United States. What's going on in upstate New York right now when it comes to the National Guard?
Sure. Well, I live in New York City, but just north of New York City is Westchester County, and Westchester County has enacted a containment area. They're closing all the schools, and they're actually even bringing out the National Guard to provide some services like cleaning up the schools that they otherwise don't have enough personnel to handle.
And important to know, Westchester County, I think, is also a bit of an affluent area. They can afford to do that, and I think that's one of the things we'll see. Well, not National Guard, but you know, it's there are places where they'll have enough to deal with this. They will have less to deal with it. When it comes to the economy, before we touch on the Dow, we're looking at the effects of it. Do you how do you see the long-term effect? Let's say coronavirus even ends within 2 weeks or a month. Probably not going to be the case. You think we'll be feeling the effect of this incident longer than that, financially?
Well, I'm a big believer in the Buffett Index, which is kind of a macro view of the markets, and it's something that Warren Buffett came up with, and it's just simply in the U.S. the total market cap divided by the GDP, and there's more than 100 years of data on this, and going back in the United States and most of the world are just way above historic norms for the Buffett Index. I mean, we're at all-time highs, and still, even after the market's down 15+%, it's still showing that we're way overvalued. So the question has always been in my mind, what's going to be the event that then gets the pendulum to swing the other way? It's not like business cycles have come to an end, and in my view, coronavirus is the thing now that's going to bring us to recession/depression. I mean, we're so overvalued that when the pendulum swings the other way, I really fear it's going to be very, very, very ugly. And there's nothing that central banks anywhere around the world can do, since rates are already at zero.
Needless to say, I tend to agree, but time will tell. We'll see if this is the thing that swings that pendulum. Back to you, Lou, and the sphere and what we do here. And you want to discuss on March 18th the Dow Call. Talk to me about this.
Sure. Well, I went to East Denver last month, and it was a real revelation for me. Obviously, I knew how much DeFi was scaling. But the two things I was really blown away by was both the strength of the community, the developer community was really amazing, and the emergence of DAOs. We really seem to have hit an inflection point with DAOs in terms of the number of DAOs being created and the innovation that they're driving. And I think this is a super important topic. So super excited to have three of those kind of thought leaders: James Waugh from Metacartel, Matan Feld from DAOstack, and Aaron Wright with OpenLaw and the Lao. And we're just going to be talking about kind of where we've come from, where we are, and where we think things are going to be, for DAOs in 2020 and beyond. And it's 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can see the invite on Medium if you just Google Lou Kerner on Medium, sign up on Zoom, and we'll also have a replay. But I think that this is going to be super informative and educational for a lot of people.
As you just mentioned, those four thought leaders, just from your newsletter on Medium, there's a Cambrian explosion of DAOs happening, led by the super simple Moloch DAO and the dozens of forks that followed. You're going to have this conversation, as you mentioned, on March 18th. Anybody wanting to sign up, whatnot, that is on your website, on your Medium site. Yes, and we urge you to do it. Following on, we're speaking today is a Wednesday, okay? And it's becoming fairly clear. I don't want to call it because Bernie Sanders is yet to concede. But, it's an election year. And November 2020 is getting closer. It looks like Biden might clinch that nomination. Either way, both not just, the presidency, but there will be a change of seats. And you're working on something called PropagandDAO. That's a very, very interesting name. PropagandDAO, where your main project at the moment is working with a candidate, and I'm quoting you, for the U.S. Congress, who will actually run as a DAO, meaning that he will be a vessel or a receptacle for the wishes of the DAO members, and that he will, share that wealth of thought or try to push that thought, be it, in the House. How do you see that happening?
Again, I think this is just an example of the kind of innovation that you can get with this new technology. The idea is, historically, obviously, we've always voted for representatives who say they're going to do ABC,
Right.
and then they get to Congress, and more often than not, ABC is not what they do. And so with this candidate running for Congress, we haven't announced who it is yet. Hopefully that'll be next week. But he has agreed to actually be completely transparent in everything he does, the money raised, where the money goes, but also in terms of voting. And the bills that he puts forward, he's going to let the DAO decide, the community decide, what he does. So effectively, it'll be the community that will be kind of running the seat. And that really is, it doesn't get more representative than that. And so if what we really want is representative government, I think there's a huge opportunity for DAOs to play a major role in that.
It's a fabulous idea in theory, and pardon me for questioning. First of all, when you said it most likely will be announced next week,
I wouldn't expect anything less.
When you say might be next week, does that mean there's already a candidate to be that candidate?
Yeah, this is a gentleman who's run on multiple of occasions, so he understands the landscape. He's well known in the community in which he's going to run, and he really wants to bring change. And everybody says blah blah blah. I want to buy change, but rarely happens. So this might actually be an opportunity to really get somebody there who's held accountable via the DAO.
Look, on its face, it sounds like a beautiful idea of direct democracy. Dare I just ask, because I know you can't tell me, does he run as a Democrat? Does he run as a Republican?
He's running as a Democrat.
Okay. Will you be announcing this on my air first?
That would be awesome.
Okay. No, I'm getting. That's how I'm pushing you to it. So that's going to happen on our air, I hope, next week. Finally, Lou, we are, of course, speaking on a very bizarre time when it comes to regular markets. And there was this horrific crash that nobody has seen since 2008 that we saw. And at the end of the day, there's a battle over narratives, because I think we were all waiting for Bitcoin to act differently. Is it a safe haven, yes or no? But if Bitcoin is uncorrelated, as many in the sphere want it to believe, why is it down when the market is down? Because that seems to be what is happening. What is your take on that?
Look, over any short period of time, right, Yael, if you flip two coins, half the time they're going to have the same thing, either heads or tails. Half the time they're going to match. So does that mean they're correlated? Absolutely not. They're totally uncorrelated. But with a correlation of 3, which is considered uncorrelation on a scale of -1 to 1, 0 being completely uncorrelated. 0.3 means that there is some modest level of correlation, but broadly considered to be highly uncorrelated. And so there's a lot of years of experience looking at this, and here's kind of the latest, for the last month, you can see that there was a correlation just a hair
exactly.
above.
We just, as you said, we just put up this chart. So break that chart for me down, please.
Right. So this compares the different asset classes and how correlated they are with different asset classes. And you could see that the correlation between BTC and the S&P is about 0.308 over the last month, which is defined mathematically as being uncorrelated or very low correlation.
Okay. And when it comes though to the battle of narratives, is it correlated or uncorrelated? I'm really asking you, why does it matter so much to the people in this sphere? Go ahead.
It matters because if you think about constructing a portfolio, the correlation of the assets, has, again, this is all math. I believe in science. If you believe in science, what you find is when constructing a portfolio, adding uncorrelated assets to that portfolio can actually increase the return while lowering the risk, which is really amazing, something to do for your portfolio. So if you believe in portfolio science, as I think an increasing number of people will, what you'll see is more and more people will be adding Bitcoin to their portfolio because to not do so would just be irresponsible.
And that's something that we argue here. But at the end of the day, there are those who would claim, and that we've heard over the past week, saying that, you know what, folks, Bitcoin is a mature digital asset. That's what it is, and it's just acting along with the rest of the market. What would you say to them?
Yael, to a large degree, I really believe that Bitcoin hasn't even started yet. I think we're relative to the internet, we might be 92, 93. So, we haven't seen the Netscape browser come out, and, people like you and I see a future in what it could be, but 99.99% of the world doesn't care at all. And until, as an industry, we're able to produce products that people want to use, until then, we're just going to be this tiny little niche thing.
Let's hope that you're right when it comes to everybody just needs to have that elusive thing called patience. Luke Kerner, I can't thank you enough. I'm waiting for that announcement next week about the Dow candidate. I'm going to hold you to it. And hopefully also get a chance to speak to him as well, or her. And I want to thank you so much for joining us from New York. Please keep safe and wash your hands.
Thanks.
Watch us on Amazon Fire TV and Roku.